Welcome back to the Firebat Open Twist here. I'm joined by Firebat, and I am Tannon Grace, and we just had a great match between Coleman and, let me make sure I get the name right, JJ Pazik here. Great played match on both sides. Coleman had kind of teched out anti-patron lineup going. Got to see Freeze Mage, a deck that I haven't cast in quite a while. It was refreshing to be able to do that. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, the Freeze Mage was definitely awesome. One of my favorite decks all time. I've used to bring it to like almost every single tournament. I brought it with a Rogue to almost every single tournament. Yeah. It's been like my favorite deck ever, and it's been falling out of favor a lot lately because of all the Druids and Warriors, and I've really stopped bringing it to tournaments, and I just love seeing Coleman do well with it, making it to the top 8 with it. Unfortunately, he gets taken down in the top 8, but still, it was awesome to watch it.
Yeah, Coleman proving that maybe you still can play, Freeze Mage in this tournament setting. Or do you think it's more of, his deck was so tailored to be able to beat decks like Grim Patron? Do you think he just maybe got that, you got that matchup a lot during the Swiss, kind of, tailored it that way, maneuvered it that way to get that matchup?
I mean, like, it wasn't even that much different than standard Freeze Mage. So It was 2-3 cards off from standard Freeze Mage. So I have to think Freeze Mage isn't as unviable as everyone's been thinking, because it made it through 10 rounds of Swiss. You can't consistently play against people with Patron Warrior every single time.
Right.
So, I mean, occasionally.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it was just showing that the deck is more viable than we say it is? Or do you think it was just maybe he got great matchups the whole time? I mean, there is a chance that, like 7 of his rounds, he got to play it against, Patron, and he gets that win out of the way. And, he did have Demon Handlock behind that, which has a great matchup against Patron as well.
I think it has to be leaning towards more the side that the deck is actually viable in a whole, just because the sample size was so large that it has to be pretty good.
Which makes you happy, right? This has to make you happy.
Yeah,
because that's why I wanted to bring it up. I know Freeze Mage happens to be one of your favorite decks. It's actually, I think, the second deck I learned how to play in all of Hearthstone. The first one, I played a lot of Miracle Rogue while that deck was around. It came from Magic, and it made me feel like I was actually playing Magic in Hearthstone, but that deck, sadly, is no longer with us. And maybe this is the start of the return of Freeze Mage, so be on the lookout for that, maybe.
And do we have any mages in the next match between Email Support and
FPV? I'm not sure. I think you had the lineup between the two.
Email Support is playing the Warrior, Warlock, Druid, and FPV has a mage, maybe another Freeze Mage, and a Hunter and a Druid.
Ooh, we have Mage and Hunter. We have a no Warrior lineup. I like this. We're going to see some new stuff here. So we have a pretty standard lineup versus a pretty unstandard lineup. We've been seeing a lot of Druid and Warrior and then X. And a lot of that X has been Warlock, let's be honest. Handlock is in a great spot right now.
Pretty much every time.
Email Support. God, I love that battle tag. That's a really funny one to me. I don't know why. I don't know why I like it so much. It's just I like that name.
Yeah, it's pretty cute name there. And he's the one rocking the standard decks, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna see how that plays out, and then we get to see FPV rocking the Mage and the Hunter and the Druid. So, do you think it's gonna be a face hunter or more like the mid-range hunters?
I think it's gonna be more like the mid-range hunters. I've actually been playing a decent bit of mid-range hunter myself lately. We've seen who's probably considered one of the best hunter players in the world, at least innovators. That's Jab. I've been watching him play a lot lately, and he actually has built some mid-range hunters lately that are pretty good against Warrior. And if you're gonna be playing against a lot of Warrior in all of your matchups, that's a good place to be with that deck. We've seen it kind of taken a step back from tournament play lately. Like, you haven't seen it in as many lineups, but if you start getting these, mid-range of like bigger, sticky minions, and they're not just all in on these early plays where your opponent just goes like Armor Smith Whirlwind and you're dead. Like, maybe it has a better chance to start, playing again, because for as long as I can remember in Hearthstone, Hunter was like, you had to be able to beat Hunter. It was a deck
it's always been top tier. This is the first time in Hearthstone history, I think, that Hunter is not considered like tier 1.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird to be Rexar right now. It's really weird to be a fan of Smark. It's not something you can really expect to see, a ton. And people are still trying to figure it out. We've seen Ram Wrangler making appearances in these decks, and I mean, I've seen some crazy games. I was doing a Starladder a few weeks ago, and I watched Osaka get into a position where it was like I was pretty sure he was going to win. And his opponent played a Ram Wrangler and got a King Crush. and the game was just over from there.
No, that's not good. That's not good.
That was, I mean, you know Osaka, right? He's got like the best poker face. It doesn't move. It looks like it's a picture. I mean, he rolled his eyes.
Oh my god, that's like a big deal for him. He literally shows no emotion.
Yeah, I mean that's like the same as him like flipping a literal table on camera and like throwing something across the room. And I think that's the only beast in the game that just actually wins the game from there. All the other ones he can get through, you know. And we're seeing, you know, these hunter decks kind of changing. You know, they're playing bigger scaling minions stuff, and like you're seeing Houndmaster being
everywhere. Well, it's because like it helps in the Patron Warrior matchup, because oftentimes Patron Warrior doesn't really have the greatest removal for all the beasts. They don't really want to be weaponing down the Haunted Creeper and then letting the 1/1s hit him in the face a bunch. So Houndmaster usually finds the target at all times.
That's actually a play I've been seeing coming up more lately. Is people will have a Haunted Creeper and other people will attack into it to kind of play around the Houndmasters and turn forward. It's like something I've been thinking about more when I've been playing. While I was working for PvP Live doing HPL, we had a spreadsheet of all the cards that had the highest win percentages played on what turn. You know, like Dr. Boom's like turn 7, obviously. Sure. You know, like Mana Worm is up there on turn 1. On turn 4, I don't remember if it was the highest, but I remember Houndmaster was either in the top 3 or top 2, and that was surprising to me.
It's huge when that card lands. It's a huge effect. 2/2 with charge just getting added for a fairly fair 4-drop, honestly.
Yeah, it adds so many stats to the board and changes the entire way. It changes the entire way the whole game, you know, has to be played from there, because you not only add a bunch of stats, but now you're creating this taunter, and as we know, Hunter is pretty good at racing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Looks like the match is finally getting underway here.
Oh, it looks like we're getting the mage right off the bat. FPV leading off with mage. Email support, he's going with Warlock. It looks like some form of handlock. We can't tell just yet. And, you know, I was fearing this Firebat. It looks like we're not getting 2 freeze mages in a row.
I think people are actually freeze maged out a little bit. They've kind of just been like chilled out with the freeze mage, and they're ready for a little bit of a faster game besides Resident Sleepering the whole series again.
Well, you know what? We do have some casino mage elements here. We had an Arcane Missiles and an Unstable Portal here. Arcane Missiles, something that's been getting a little more popular lately, probably because of, you know, Paladin, you know, showing up a lot.
Just the amount of raw damage you can do too if the board's empty. With a empty board, Flame Waker and then Missiles is 5 damage to the face for 1 mana.
That's a good smork there. We talked about maybe this is a aggressive lineup from, and look at this. We get a little bit of a different information here since we saw all of his spells. They all got mulliganed, and this is not typical. This looks like it is Mech Mage.
Yeah, this is going to be extremely aggressive. And the Warlock's going to need to find a Hellfire pretty early if he's going to want to keep up with all of these low-costing drops. And then when he finds it, FPV is going to try and close him out with that Loatheb there.
Yeah, and picking up a Fireball, not even bad here. That's a good finisher to get through, you know, at the end if, like, email support has to do something, like, taunt up Defender Vargas and just hope it's good. And, you know, Mech Mage, this is a deck you were doing a lot of work with. Recently, I saw you know, changing up the deck a lot, putting Fell Reavers and stuff in it.
Yeah, that was like 2 seasons ago. I ended up taking out some of the card draw and such and putting in Fell Reavers, just trying to make it more aggressive than it already was, because a lot of people are cutting some of their defensive cards as aggro is sort of falling out of the meta. You don't see Hunter as much. The current aggro decks are all pretty slow, with like even aggro Paladin is probably the fastest like mainstream aggro deck right now, and its real power turn isn't until turn 6.
Yeah, we saw definitely a decrease in big game Hunter as well around that time. So that card was raining, like that card was just raining terror on people for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those cards that people forget about for a while, and then it comes back, and then everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And then everyone puts big game Hunter back in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cards like that in Hearthstone. You know, people kind of forget about them. You don't see them too much, and then it comes back and it's like, guys, you forgot about me. I was over here on the bench, but now I'm back at the starting role, and I can do a lot of stuff. And this is an aggressive owl use from email support, but I kind of like it. You know, he's gonna have to be aggressive and protect his life total here.
Especially since Demon Handlock now, they've made some changes, most of them. I don't see Sludge Belcher as common anymore, and that's gonna cost him in this sort of matchup where you're just trying not to die, and then you just outvalue your opponent after that. It's gonna be pretty tricky.
It's funny that we talk about there's 2 ways to play in a lot of situations. Like the play to not die, and then the play to win. But in this matchup, in the case of the Warlock, it's playing to win is not dying. Like, it just needs to survive the early rush, and its late game is just so much more powerful than anything that the FPV can be doing here.
Yeah, FPV with the aggressive missiles there, just so he's not slowing down at all, can continue developing these 2-1s and just push damage really fast. I think he's making a read there off the owl, like the aggressive use of that owl, that there is no board sweeper in the hand for email support, but now there is.
Yeah, Hellfire added to his hand here. You know, I agree with you the way you're talking about that. I feel that, oh man, we're talking about Doomsayers coming off of Shredders. This is not a good one here.
Doomsayer off unstable portal.
You know, I see a lot of Doomsayers off of Shredders. I don't know if I've ever seen a Doomsayer off of a Power.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen that as well, I think. It's really just not good for him, though. It's like not a card he wants to play to just like pressure his opponent, but it might actually come in handy, though.
Yeah, the big giant turn, yeah. Soak up a lot of damage.
Killing a Twilight Drake would be really good. But
you know, I really like the point you made about, you know, him being really aggressive with that Arcane Missile there. You know, it's a very good chance it's going to kill the owl there, but it's all about the read you get from your opponent's hand, and you have to figure that your opponent's hand is bad.
Yeah, if they're playing that YOLO owl.
I really like that point you made there, and that's why he made that play. And now we see the real problem with this draw from FPV. We're here at turn 4.
Well, you can Doomsayer now to deny the Drake or the Giant.
I actually really like playing Doomsayer here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's way better than just fireballing, right?
Like, even if your opponent has the second owl, they can't play anything with it, really. Like, besides Earthen Ring Farseer, if they run that as a tech card in their Demon Handlock. So it looks like email support's forced to just play the owl and then pass the turn back, or maybe not even play the owl at all, because how relevant is the 2-1 body, honestly? You might choose just to do nothing this turn. Or Healbot could be a play.
Yeah, I mean,
mind that one.
I think he's going to take his time with this one, because it all depends on how relevant Ironbeak Owl is. Like, does he just want to get the 2-1 into play to start to contest what happens? But your opponent on turn 4 just played a Doomsayer and pinged your face. You know that either someone like Felreather or Lotheb, some kind of, or maybe Azure Drake is coming down behind this. And
you're thinking one of those drops.
Yeah, and he doesn't have anything to pair with an Ironbeak Owl right now to take care of those cards. So how relevant is it, really?
Yeah, Ed, you make a really good point there. Like, what does the 2-1 body even accomplish? Maybe it's better off in your hand. And he's going to agree with you there, and he's just going to say, well, 8 life is better than a 2-1 body. So he's going to take 8 life.
Yeah, I actually like heal botting there. I mean, you're not going to tap because you're so fearful of getting burned out. I mean, look at FPV's hand. I mean, he has 15,
he has everything he needs.
Yeah, he has 15 burst damage from his hand, 16 if you count the Whirling Blades.
Yeah, he has enough damage to get the job done if there's no more heal, because he can strike with the Lotheb and then ping face and then just freeze the 8/8 if he wants, or he can just start fireballing to set up lethal.
You can get, I was going to say, he's even got the emergency cullet here.
Yeah.
Now, since he's already seen an anti-heal bot, I kind of like the aggressive line. Do you like the aggressive line of just attacking and setting up lethal next turn?
Yeah, I love setting up lethal. I always set up lethal whenever you can. Just put it on your opponent's hand to deal with it. Especially when you're the aggressive deck, you always want to be setting up lethal. It's just such a power play.
Yeah, it looks like he might be agreeing with you here. Plus, if something goes really crazy, there's like a heal and a sweeper of some kind, you do have a Dr. Boom as a backup plan. It's some really crazy plays go from here.
Yep, so we're going to see the Fireball coming down. No, the Fireball doesn't quite set up lethal. Those the mana constraints.
Yeah, it does put him one short, but I mean, if he's just taunting up, it means there's probably no heal, and you might be able to get him the next turn. And I think FPV is really...
Yeah, he can't do 10 damage next turn, so he's gonna go with the ping instead. If he could set him down to 9, he would use the Fireball here, because then he can Fireball Frostbolt. But there's no way for him to actually kill him on the following turn.
Big top deck here from...
Wow, the second heal bot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be able to play the heal bot if he wants, and then owl the 8/8 so that he can trade into the 6/5, and then maybe start taking back this board.
Yeah, I got to believe that's what he's in the market for here. That seems like a great turn. Gaining 8 life and removing your opponent's only threat that's in play while keeping around a gigantic threat. You now have an 8/2, and yeah, an 8/2 does sound like, oh, he could just Frostbolt it, but that's not what this Frostbolt is here for. You know, that's not something the Mech Mage deck wants to be doing with that card.
Yeah, he wants to be killing you with that card, and his hand size is so small and such that he can't really like just out-develop to compete up with Twilight Drakes and giants and such. So I'd like to see Twilight Drake come down, then silence the 8/8 and trade, since you don't need to heal this turn, because FPV only has 7 mana, so he cannot do 15 damage yet.
And you're seeing email support take his time and really pick out his turns there. I think he knows that there's some burn spells in FPV's hand, or that's what he's playing for. You know, they either have to be there the way turns 4 and 5 played out, you know, in turn 6 with like pushing that hurt, or he's playing just to top deck those cards, so that's what you need to be playing around, because then the rest of his hand is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so email support is going to play a Dr. Boom here this turn, because you know what? It's turn 7, Dr. Boom is green. Gotta play it. There's a rule.
Yeah, he still has lethal setup for the next turn, so there's no reason for him to be like pinging face or something like that. So he's just gonna hope his opponent doesn't have heal bot and try and ride out this Dr. Boom.
Yeah, he's still got double fireball, so he's got 12 burst, and you know, if these boom bots get really crazy.
Oh, it's so tempting to big game hunter here, but
I was about to say big game hunter is very tempting, but it can't be the right play, right? You feel like you need to heal, right?
He's 1 damage off with 2 fireballs, so you're still alive.
Yeah, but there's 2 boom bots in play though.
You can see where the boom bots go first, but then they could kill the giant.
Yeah. I like this play.
Scary.
Ooh, full 4 on this Twilight Drake here.
That's not good.
Yep.
1 to the face means healbot has to come down this turn. His board's pretty weak now, honestly. So if the FPV actually draws a big card, he could be back in this game.
Well, Annoyatron, this is interesting. You know, if he plays Annoyatron and a Spider Tank behind it, you know, the Spider Tank might be able to get in 3 damage. And I think that's a little above expectations at this point. You know, getting 3 damage out of a Spider Tank here, I think he'd be very happy for that.
Yeah, and from email support side, he's running out of big threats that actually deal a decent amount of damage. So it's going to take him a little bit to try and kill FPV. It's not going to happen instantly.
He does have another Twilight Drake and a Defender of Argus to kind of buff his guys up, but the taunt is almost becoming irrelevant at this point. You know, you're starting to worry about your life total from direct damage at this point.
What to do?
Well, I mean, direct damage. You know, there's only how much left? He hasn't used any fireballs or frost bolts, right?
Right.
So there's actually a considerable amount left.
Yeah, I would, if I was an email support spotter here, like if I was sitting there, I would assume there's at least 9 points of direct damage from my opponent. I'd assume that he has at least a fireball and a frostbolt the way this game is played out, you know, the way that he has played his hand, and you have to at least account for that at all times. You have to play around that.
You see that ping face there instead of pinging on your 4/2 Twilight Drake, which you can set up to ping it off the next turn. You gotta be kind of suspicious about that.
That's like, this is who I am. This is where we're at. There's no delusions here. We're trying to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not playing a value game. This Twilight Drake's irrelevant. I want just 3 damage out of my Spider Drake. But that is
not gonna let him take it.
That's gonna be denied from him. Great play from the evil support. You're realizing just great game awareness. And look, there's the Fel Reaver. There's your buddy.
Aggressive. He's not really gonna accomplish too much here.
Yeah. Pulling out this big game hunter. You know, email support might have thought about that. You know, if I don't big game hunt on this turn, there's a chance there's no more targets left in FPV's deck for it. But we see that there actually is here now.
Just so close, the game, just teetering on life and death the whole time for email support.
So there's something to be said about this too. If I were FPV, I would be really thinking about how this game's going to play out and if I should play a Reaver or not. Like if I should show this card to my opponent if I think I'm going to. But it's kind of hard not to play this because you still have a good chance.
Yeah, I like this play a lot now. His opponent's only source of healing is Lord Jiraxis. And if he plays Lord Jiraxis, he can't actually deal with the Fel Reaver unless he has exactly Mortal Coil. So, and if he doesn't heal, he dies to double Fireball Ping.
Yep.
That's a great setup by FPV right there. You were talking about trying to conceal cards for no way to win, and FPV here is finding a line where he has a chance to just win this game.
So many possibilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna have to life tap here to try to find some kind of heal because he knows that his life total is in big jeopardy here.
Yeah, no heals found. Both heal bots have been used. That's gonna be it. You were calling him out too early.
No, I wasn't calling him out. I was trying to think of like, is there a reason not to card? But yeah, I mean, these fireballs are gonna seal this match, and this game.
That's the power of Fel Reaver. Like a lot of people say Fel Reaver's a terrible card, yada yada, you mill your whole deck, but they have to deal with it. It's an 8/8 that they have to deal with, and you get to play it at such a discounted cost that then you can do other stuff behind it, like set up lethal, for example. You're forcing them to have to deal with it and heal.
Yeah, that guy is quite big, and like I mean,
Oh,
we even saw it get big game hunted that game, but it ended up not mattering. We saw a chance for big game hunter to even hit Doctor Boom, but there was a better play for him that turn, and what an opening start from the mech mage side there, and just able to apply so much pressure that the Hellfire and heal bots were not enough for the Demon Handlock deck to come back.
Yeah, and Doomsayer ended up playing a crucial role actually in the game.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. That's amazing. The Doomsayer out of the unstable portal was instrumental into that game. It got him tempo back on a turn that otherwise was going to be just abysmal for the Mech Mage deck.
Nope. And we have the decks coming in from either players now. We have email support chose Druid, and not really sure. I guess we'll find out what his opponent chose.
Oh, we get to find out what kind of Rexar this is, and it looks like he's got a golden one too, so.
Oh, Golden Hunter.
Yeah.
The Smork Life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a Glavezuka in this hand, so this could be a pretty aggressive version of Hunter here. How do you like the aggressive builds of Hunter versus, what Druid's doing nowadays?
Well, nowadays Druid cut Belchers, and they're running Ezra Drakes now, which don't have taunt and only a 4/4 body. And they're usually running Harrison Jones now, which isn't too great against Hunter. So I like Hunter a lot against Druid. I think the lack of taunts really allows the aggressive Hunters to punish him.
Well, I mean, taunt's cheating anyway. We all know that if you're into the Smork life. But we see a Savannah High Main here in FPV's hand. So I got to believe this is more like a hybrid Hunter deck and not just all in. There might be something like Arcane Golem in this list, but it can fully scale out. Oh, and speak of it, and there it is. And this Abusive Sergeant just going to get in here and just start getting some tempo damage in.
Yeah, the Hybrid Hunter, not the greatest draw for the Hybrid Hunter, whereas on the Druid side, we have all of the ramp and not really many tools to use after the ramp, but he's hoping to draw like any big minion in his deck. Aspin's going to be doing work here, though.
Yeah, I like Darnassus here a lot. It kind of challenges this Abusive Sergeant. There's not a lot of ways to get super punished here. I mean, I guess there's like Glavezuka.
Glavezuka would be the big one.
But with your hand, I think you're just like okay, like with all that. Like you have all this extra ramp and not a lot of stuff to do. As long as you don't start taking tons and tons and tons of damage, I think you're just fine with that, right?
Yeah, definitely. The Knife Juggler off the top from FPV is pretty sweet. Going to allow him to continue applying pressure.
Yeah, is there ever a world where you could just get super aggressive with the swipe, but then you just have like no follow-up behind that? I mean, you get to hold on to these mana crystals, which let's be honest, it's probably not a chance you get this mana crystal to hold on to. Then, an early Sylvanas can rule this board against Hunter here.
I don't know. Sylvanas early usually against Hunter ends up getting freezing trapped, which is one of the downsides of the card in general. Whereas Taunts really can't get freezing trapped because they still got to go through them. Emperor really can't get freezing trapped because otherwise it procs a bunch of times. But Sylvanas and Piloted Shredder are both cards that are just so susceptible to potential freezing traps.
Yeah, but he's just going to trade off from Knife Juggler here. I mean, that guy is just so much damage.
Oh yeah, you have to. You can't leave that up and just keep taking damage from it. FPV does not have a really solid play this turn unless he wants to give the Druid another Wild Growth.
Yeah, so this is interesting. How aggressive are you? Like, how committed are you to this plan? I'm just getting in as much damage as you can here. Do you Arcane Golem? It looks like he's not going to.
If Keeper of the Grove comes down, you just lose the game on the spot. So it's too much of a risk.
And even more ramp added to Email Support's hands here. So, he's got all the filler right now. He just needs a little bit more Thriller. He needs a couple more cards to actually do with all this mana.
Yeah. It's kind of a bumpy start for the Druid, but not a bad one. Like, it's just a middle-of-the-road start that has the potential to be insane.
Yeah, and this is where things are going to start picking up for Hunter. So, be able to Pilot Shredder here. He's even got Snake Trap in his deck. This is like a full-on hybrid deck. He's going to be able to, like, weave in the Arcane Golem plus a Hero Power if he wants to next turn, follow it up with High Main. I mean, he's got some good options turns after this.
Lots of damage coming in. And that Snake Trap being Snake Trap instead of freezing might cost him a little bit here as Sylvanas comes into play. The tech choices.
Yeah, but if he plays this Snake Trap too, it is going to change the way Email Support has to play the game too, because you just like always assume it's freezing in these
May bait the Force of Nature to try and get the Sylvanas unfrozen.
Yeah, that could be a big thing in this game too. That if you take away, you know, the reach of Force of Nature late, but in this matchup, you know, Force of Nature is kind of one of those flexible cards. It could be a removal spell to clear, or it could just be your way to win on turn 9 when you've raced and you're going to be dead next turn, but you just 14 or 16 or 18 of them out of nowhere.
Definitely. So yeah, I think the trap's probably gonna see coming down this turn. Maybe the Arcane Golem, but the trap for sure.
Actually, it looks like he's gonna go with an Ironbeak Owl this turn, so maybe it's Ironbeak Owl or Arcane Golem.
Really?
Huh. It's interesting.
No, he's playing the trap. He's holding back the Arcane Golem. He doesn't want to give Druid mana onto their turn 7 turn where they can play Ancient Allure, and Dr. Boom. It's a really powerful turn for Druid usually. And we are going to see Force of Nature come down to try and break the freezing trap that doesn't exist.
Yeah. So it's like we said, and still going to be able to clean up this board relatively nicely as well, though. He's going to be able to alleviate a decent bit of this pressure. You know, Snake Trap is nice. It comes back, you know, these 3/1/1s, but Email Support's going to be able to take out a lot of stuff. The question is, you know, he has no way to take care of all the beast, though, and that's like...
he could double Innervate Swipe if he wants to.
Wow, that's actually... like he could do here.
It is a lot of resources, though.
All right, yeah. So if you double Innervate Swipe here, then you're left with just Pilot Shredder and in your hand, and you'll have just Sylvanas on board. That's silenced, so that doesn't match up. I guess you could trade into a Savannah High Main, and they just get 2/2/2s, and then you have a Pilot Shredder left over. I mean, he's thinking about it, and it looks like he's actually going to go for it.
I kind of like the line here. Like, you just wasted a Force of Nature, basically, though, is the problem with this line.
Yeah.
But, you kind of have to, because your hand now, after wasting that Force of Nature, is just so weak. All you have left is Innervates, and it's like, what does it accomplish?
No, really, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And then, you know, you just kind of hope top of your deck is nice to you from here, right? You know, you hope that you draw some 7 drops maybe from here on out. Like, if you just draw Boom there, like, how good is that?
Game's over. Yeah, exactly. He's got so much tempo going for him now. He's just trying to race down the Hunter now because his hand was just all damage spells and Innervates, basically. Yeah. So you take the tempo and hope it carries you through.
Yeah, I love what you said there. You know, it's the way his hand set up, and I love seeing that from players. You know, he realized my hand is not good enough for me to play control from this point. You know, if I try to play a value game, I'm probably going to lose. And so he figured out that his best defense is an offense here, is just try to kill his opponent and race him down. You know, if he makes it to where FPV starts having to trade with his high main here,
yeah, that's going to be pretty huge. And FPV does have to trade with the high main. And the Shredder is going to stick. I think that's why he played the Shredder over the Emperor Thorson. It's just so much more likely to stick, can make Roar.
Yeah, it just keeps a body in play. Yeah, he gets to use his hero power. He also gets to use his hero power again next turn. It just curves out really well. I mean, not well, it curves out better. I mean, he's not doing broken stuff Druid wants to be doing on turns 7 and 8, but it's good enough here.
Oh, are we seeing the Arcane Golem to clear the Sylvanas? He's mousing over it.
You know,
see that come down.
It's possible. Otherwise, you miss out on 7 damage from your high main here, and the race has been initiated from email support here. So
it doesn't quite set up lethal though to use the Arcane Golem because he doesn't have the mana to hero power. So he is gonna have to opt to the trade. Trading actually puts pretty much the same amount of damage in play because of the Leok.
Yeah, I mean, it does leave behind 6 power. That's right. I mean, I don't hate that trade, I guess. You know, if he goes upstairs, email support is at 14. I'm sorry, 6. Yeah.
As email support here, he's actually in a position where he can kind of trade now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Leok just lines up so nicely with the Shredder.
It's been a weird back and forth game here.
Yeah, just so much attrition and so much grinding for control of the board and who has to trade what at what times has been going really back and forth. But it seems like the Hunter is definitely on the defensive still, even though the Druid's trading. Druid's just taking value.
Yeah, well, he did pick up a quick shot here, so, you know, if he gets to get his hand empty next turn, he can get an extra card deeper into his deck, and depending what comes out of, this here.
He's gonna get his hand empty this turn.
Yeah. So he's actually just gonna move all in here. Okay.
Yeah, he gets to clear the board fully and draw a new card, which is another Arcane Golem. So definitely a lot of aggression in this Hybrid Hunter. And it looks like he's probably gonna opt to clear the board fully this turn. Oh no, he's gonna leave the 3/2 up. Oh no, he's got 2 minutes to attack still.
Okay.
I was like, that's a big risk. The Keeper of the Grove is going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, Keeper of the Grove can answer the Arcane Golem, plus Wrath can cycle for a card here. Or do you just kill the Getting the
Oh
spectator
wow,
bug.
he needs to get the swipe to stay alive. So he's gonna take the wrath on the 2/2 just to try and find the swipe. Prioritizes that. Or no, he just thinks he's gonna hero power.
Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Finally went away. I had the spectator bug problem where I couldn't really see the screen because I just had the 2 different wraths on my screen, blocking everything.
Nice. He wrath the 2/2 instead of a 1/1 because he was planning on hero powering to kill all of the beasts.
Yeah.
But then gets kind of punished when he ends up top decking a 5-drop that he can play with his Keeper of the Grove.
Yeah, exactly. So he has 15 here, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Mm-hmm.
He has 15 here. You can put him to 2. Not a terrible spot to be in. If he wants to just push all in here.
Yeah, he would die though. His opponent's got the Druid of the Claw for 4 damage. Against Druid, when they only have 1 card, 4 damage is usually the number. That's the damage Druid of the Claw does. That's the damage Swipe does. So you got to be kind of weary about that.
You might see him play a little differently than going upstairs or everything here. Like, might trade off for this Azure Drake.
Yeah, might just kill command the Azure Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a kill command go down on the Azure Drake.
Yeah, I like kill command a lot better than Azure Drake here. Yeah, you're right. Keep the 4/2 body in play. It looks like he's gonna take the full time to think about where this kill command goes, but you know, if it doesn't go upstairs, then Female Support has lethal in his hand.
Yeah, and he's gonna realize that 4 damage is just too risky, and he's gonna take the trade. He still has a really strong board moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, he did pick up a Wrath here, so he gets to get even another card deeper into his deck if he wants to take care of this Hyena, or he could use it if he really wants to. He could use it to kill Arcane Golem and then set Druid of the Claw in taunt mode, and Emil can't get through the Druid. He doesn't have 6 power anymore.
How many owls have we seen this game?
I don't think we've seen an owl from FPV side.
Okay, so you got to be kind of worried about the owl coming down on the bear, but you get to clear most of this board while keeping your Keeper of the Grove available for taunting. I mean, Keeper of the Grove available for clearing more things.
Yeah, no, he does have the option to just taunt up Druid of the Claw, kill off the Hyena, and then trade into the Arcane Golem, so there's just 2 1/1s left. Plus, you can use a hero power as well.
Okay, I like using the Wrath this turn, whether it's for 3 or for 1. I think both are pretty good. I think
like he's gonna go.
Yeah, I like this play. Just the tempo on the board when you're at 7 life is more relevant than a card in the hand.
Yeah, I could agree with you here. I mean, this sets up like a lot of lethals as well. Oh, he's gonna go to aggressive and attack for 4 here.
But is there 1 card he could draw?
Yeah, let's say there's no 1 card that can kill him, right? It had to be quick shot into something.
That's
to be quick shot into something. I love this attack for meals.
Because both Arcane Golems have been used.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was a really good play. Email support there. Yeah, we forgot to take into account the fact that both of the Arcane Golems had been used, so the amount of reach there is way smaller.
Very solid play, setting up lethal there. Setting up lethal, always really good, especially when there's no risk involved besides a quick shot into something. With 1 quick shot used, seems unlikely. So I really like the play by email support there, seeing where to set up lethal. That's pretty tricky matchup to navigate, so very well done.
Yeah, because if he taunts it up there, he gives him 2 more draws, right? Instead of 1. If he taunts up, then he can attack for 7 next turn, and it's not enough. Yeah, and you know, if he gets like quick shot into something ever, you're dead. I mean, that's like whatever. And then he has to get 2 draws in a row, and you have a taunt. I mean, he has to get 2 draws in a row, and you're pressuring him, and he has to deal with your minions. Yeah, I like this play a lot, getting really aggressive there.
And we see the Warrior from email support and the Druid from FPV now.
Yeah, and this is a matchup FPV kind of wants, right? This is why one of the good reasons to have Druid in your lineup.
Yeah, it's not bad against Patron Warrior, and it's really good against Control Warrior, so it's pretty sweet against Warrior in general.
And we're not sure exactly which Warrior this is right now. You know, Harrison Jones does pop up in Patron every now and then, especially if, like, you know, we talked about people having Brawl in their Patron decks. Mirror. Some people like Harrison Jones to win the mirror.
Yeah, definitely. Harrison Jones comes out a lot in the mirror, and Shield Slam has been being teched in a lot lately to help deal with handlocks and druids.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This isn't necessarily just Control Warrior right away. I mean, these are cards that have shown up in Patron.
Yeah.
So are these.
Yeah, so are all of these.
Well, there's a Baron again, so.
Oh, okay. There we go. Control Warrior.
I mean, I was leaning towards Control Warrior very heavily, but we are now confirmed. There's the Baron Geddon. So this one might be a little bit of a grind.
Wait. Baron Geddon also procs patrons, though. You never know.
Yeah, and we see Cruel Taskmaster. I mean, yeah. He just took Control Warrior and Patron, just mashed it together. He's just got like patrons in his control warrior deck, and
I mean, he couldn't find enough whirlwind effects. Use Baron for whirlwind.
yeah, I mean, hey, it works.
Yeah, Druid, no wild growth, and the combo in hand, but ends up picking up Harrison Jones. So that draw just turned in from like really bad draw for Druid to kind of okay.
Yeah, you know, Harrison Jones could be a very big tempo play. You could be, you know, put a 5/4 body on the board, draw a card, and seen a Justicar True Heart added here. Now, this is a card we've seen popping up a lot in Warrior lately because it's a big threat, but it also makes your hero power pretty good. I mean, gaining 4 life a turn, it's a little bit different than the Priest ability because, you know, Priest can't go above 30, but Warrior can. I mean, I've seen games of them getting up to like 80 with this card.
Oh, yeah.
They just can't die anymore.
It helps out a lot against Patron Warrior because sometimes like 30 armor isn't enough. So you really need to make that 30 armor 60 armor if you want to have a chance of stabilizing.
It's unbelievable that you just said that statement. I mean, I remember the days that Hearthstone you'd be at 30 and your opponent would have like 4 cards and no board. And you'd be like, yeah, I'm safe and probably have this game won. That's not true anymore. You actually have a chance to die at all times.
So Acolyte of Pain, not a bad pickup. He might be considering trying to develop Despite so he can land Acolyte of Pain into Cruel Taskmaster next turn, but I feel like that's a bit greedy and walks right into Harrison Jones. So we'll see what he tries to go with here.
I was about to ask you, like, how greedy are you with your Acolyte of Pain here? You know, do you need to get more than one draw out of it, like just to ensure that you get more than one draw out of it?
Yeah, it's really good to get more than one card draw out of it, but it's really bad if you get 0, which is probably why the hesitation here, because if Keeper of the Grove comes down on your Acolyte of Pain, you're really sad in this matchup.
All right,
so
now
he's
since
going to be greedy with it.
Yeah, you just coin Harrison Jones here, right? Because this got to feel like a little bit of a control warrior deck to you, so it's not super important for you to kill Deathspite at the right time.
And 2 cards is just huge. Your hand isn't that great. If you're able to find an Innervate or something with this hand, then it turns into something amazing. You start being able to play 2 threats on 1 turn and really just start steamrolling the game.
Yeah, and even if you don't find Innervate, I mean, this hand's pretty good. He's got a ton of threats, plus an Ancient of Lore to kind of recoup some of the, you know, more cards as the game goes on. This is the kind of hand that's going to give Control Warrior fits.
Oh, wow, look at this double Acolyte of Pain. He could even just play double Acolyte of Pain and then just swing the Despite at the bear to set up the Acolyte of Pains to be able to trade with it.
Yeah, get some extra cards out of it as well, because he's now fighting the game on multiple fronts. I mean, there's a lot of damage stuff going on, but the Druid player has amounted a lot of resources to go forward in this game. He's got so many cards in his hand, and I mean, you're always worried about getting comboed out at all times, so you need to make sure your life total's high while you're still like fighting for board control.
Yeah, I mean, Druid can oftentimes run a Control Warrior out of resources, especially if they have things like Big Game Hunter and whatnot. They can just like get board control and just never stop piling on threats, and eventually the Warrior just runs out of weapons and ways to deal with those threats.
I mean, like already, like how good was that Harrison Jones? You know, it 5/4, got in 5 damage, drew 2 cards, killed a weapon, and took a charge from another weapon. I mean, that's amazing for 5 mana.
Yep. It looks like he's thinking about playing Acolyte of Pain, swinging, and then Cruel Taskmaster. Or he's just going to execute and then develop an Acolyte of Pain, wait, try and get the second Acolyte of Pain down before he swings with the weapon.
Yeah, I mean, this is an attempt from Email Support to like get on the board and get something going on his own end, right? Instead of always being defensive. You know, he's fighting hard to recover the board.
Yeah, definitely. FPV has a lot of options in his hand. That a lot of them look pretty good here. Like he can Keeper the Acolyte of Pain if he wants, but it's not really what you want to be doing too often because they have things like Sylvanas and other things in the Control Warrior deck. But it is a pretty strong play. Yeah,
I found that Keeper usually is regulated to Sylvanas duty in this matchup, but sometimes you get, you know, pretty aggressive. Like if they have like no cards left in their hand, I mean, he's down to 4 cards. You think you could just outvalue him here? Maybe Keeper isn't the worst.
Yeah. At the same time, you got 2 off Harrison Jones. You could probably outvalue him with like Shredder, Rathig on the Acolyte too.
Yeah.
So those are probably like the 2 plays he's really thinking about. He's thinking about like either just dropping Sylvanas because it's 6 and on curve, or silencing the Acolyte and doing something else. So it looks like Silence Acolyte Darnassus. He just feels like because he got those two card draws off Harrison Jones, he's got 2 more card draws coming out lore, that he can actually just outvalue the Control Warrior and run him out of resources. Not take him to fatigue necessarily, but just have so many cards coming down that he can play a decent threat every single turn of the game, and the Control Warrior just runs out of cards in his hand to be able to deal with all the threats.
Yeah, I mean, then eventually there might be a turn where he just Force of Nature Savage Horse, you know? He's still got that in his hand too, and we're coming up on 9 mana real soon, you know, the next couple turns, and all he needs to get through is, you know, just a few more points of damage here or there. email support, he's gonna do damage to himself again at some point in time in this game. This Death Bite's gonna, you know, eat a minion at some point.
Yeah, I don't think either of these minions are worth Death Biting though. So I think it might just be Geddon time.
I agree.
Yeah.
You can set the big Geddon here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that puts FPV on the back foot as well. You know, it makes it to where he has to start playing simply as well. It gets you, you know, some good tempo.
Yeah, I'm too afraid of the big game hunter though. The general rule of Geddon is playing the control game anyway, because you want to get something else of your big threats big game hunter first, and then you play Geddon into the big game hunter, so you guarantee get the kill on the big game hunter and other things generally.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So he's gonna just go for the draws here, playing definitely the control game. He's pretty committed to it, not going for tempo plays.
Well, can he draw 2 cards here? Is that 9 or 10? Is it 9 cards? Is 9 cards? So you'd go down to 8.
Yeah, he'd go down to 8 and then be overtrying, right?
Yeah, so maybe he can't afford to do that just yet.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, how often is it wrong to, you know, Ancient of Lore with 7 mana and draw cards?
It's the first world druid problems. Too many cards in hand to Ancient of Lore for cards.
First world druid problems. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, Ysera gets drawn. Ysera is one of those cards that if you're in a position where you're at a comfortable life total, you can snowball the game in your favor.
Yeah. No, so what does email support need to do on this turn?
Oh, I like just dropping Sylvanas.
Yeah?
Yeah, the threat of Sylvanas is crazy against Druid, and we've seen the Keeper used. This like makes it so he can't play any 5-attack minions because he's afraid of you being able to trade the Sylvanas into it and steal them. And it just helps clean up the board a lot for Ysera. If you can play Ysera with tempo while being above 14 life, then you're in a great position to win this game, because combo at that point, combo can kill Ysera, but that's your entire turn.
Yeah, and you've seen a Keeper of the Grove already as well, too. So
yeah, so somehow FPV has to get into a position where he can kill email support next turn, that he can't play Ysera. Otherwise, Ysera's going to come down, or he needs to set up some line where he can get him low enough to be able to kill him. And that generally involves trying to deal with this Sylvanas.
Yeah, it's just like swipe you, attack you, play Pilot Shredder, innervate hero power. Like, just try to make combo lethal next turn. Yeah,
it's going to be pretty tough. He is going to try and deal with the Sylvanas immediately. He's going to use Force of Nature, breaking up the combo though. But using Force of Nature to clean up the whole board here to deal with Sylvanas.
Breaking up the gang a little bit here. The 1 and 3 for him to pick up the Treant here.
Yeah. He's still able to develop his board with Piloted Shredder, so not too bad.
Pretty decent turn here from FEV, you know, the lesser of some evils.
Yeah, still, combo's only 26 damage, so Ysera can come down safely if desired. Geddon picks up a decent bit of value, but not that great.
Yeah, if he has like a big game hunter behind this, like that could be rough. Maybe you do just... do you consider it like a YOLO Ysera if you play it here?
It is.
I think this is like a good...
I mean, you always got to be afraid your opponent just suddenly drops 2 big minions and goes face with everything, and then combos you and kills you. But
well, he might be dropping... Good.
Yeah, this is the test here to see if you don't die next turn, you win as the control warrior.
I have no time for games.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's scary to see when you play Ysera. So FPV no longer has the combo, so he opts to go with the defensive approach of stealing Ysera instead of trying to set up lethal with something like Dr. Boom top deck combo.
Yeah, that would have been rough if you would have gotten like Dream. It could just bounce. Yeah, just bounce Sylvanas, and you're now like so far behind. But you know, I think you got to take your chances there. Email support got what might be one of the worst ones to get in Laughing Sister in some of these spots. You know, it's not immediately impactful. It's not gigantic like Emerald Dragon or whatever it's called, the 7 power guy.
Combo is lethal here, so if FPV has combo, that's a good game. But he used the 1 combo piece earlier, so his likelihood of having it's a bit low. That's why email support chooses not to play around it and respect the combo at all. He just tries to make a big board to try and lower the impact of Sylvanas on this board.
Yeah, and I like that from him. I think at this point you kind of just like the ship has sailed on playing around that. You know, once you've seen that, I think you just start making your decisions as if it's not there until you start getting a firm hold on the game, and then you can play around it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a bad matchup, so when you're in your bad matchups, that's really how you have to sort of play. You can't play around everything when it's a bad matchup for you. You have to sort of YOLO at some stages of the game. But from FPV's point of view, I think it's time to draw some cards, try and find a way that he can kill his own Sylvanas. Try and take that Ysera.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's gonna start out taking care of some of these armor smiths. I mean, that life total's gonna start getting a little big if he leaves both these armor smiths in play for too long.
Sure, it makes sense. Oh, we're not seeing any of the 7-drops come out yet. He's gonna take care of the Ysera. He's taking care of the other armor smith. He's gonna leave Ysera up with the hopes of being able to steal it, and then develop a piloted shredder. The downside of this is you give your opponent another Ysera card, which is pretty scary sometimes.
It's actually pretty good for him that he didn't play Dr. Boom that turn. Email support top decked Big Game Hunter.
Yeah.
Mana Addict? Oh.
We could see the attack into the Sylvanas, give your opponent Ysera, and then play Geddon.
Yeah, that's something that could be... Well, actually, yeah,
Ysera's Awakens.
Yeah, this just takes everything pretty cleaned up.
Yeah, I like that line. That line's solid there. Give your opponent Ysera, deal with it.
Yeah, this way you don't have to play into a Big Game Hunter. You get a 6/3 and you're back up to 25. Yeah, I like this spot a lot. You know, we talked about FPV's hand being able to like maybe grind down email support from that spot, but we may have spoken too soon. I mean, he's gonna need to draw 2 more cards with this Ancient of Lore whenever he plays it, but email support is navigating this game very well.
Yeah, Dr. Boom does not look very happy in the face of that Big Game Hunter. Got the beast in his sights for sure.
I like to call him a fun game hunter. He likes to ruin everyone's fun. They're like, oh, look at this. I got this awesome Dr. Boom that I spent, weeks getting enough dust to craft. And they're like, oh, it would be a shame if something were to happen to it. And then they're just like Big Game Hunter it. Takes away all the fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least the Boom bot gets a little revenge here.
Oh, that always happens to Big Game Hunter. The Boom bots get the justice kill for the Dr. Boom.
I want to see FPV get to a point where he kind of has the board a little under lock, and we get to uproot an Ancient of War to try to finish this game off, because email support's life total is getting a little on the big side here.
His life total is getting really big, but at the same time, we see look at the hand size differentials here. We have email support's got a bunch of Big Game Hunter targets, and he's shown in previous turns that he's pretty afraid of Big Game Hunter, but now he's in a position where he's kind of forced to play him. And FPV's drawn most of his deck, and he's got another Ancient Lore to draw more cards. With only 9 cards remaining, it's fairly likely he finds the Big Game Hunter here.
I think he's fine with this turn getting Big Game Hunted, though, since he's going to Alexstrasza, use the remaining mana to clear, and then push 5 more Pierce Jones, putting his opponent to 11. So it's like forcing FPV to have a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah, I like this line by email support. I mean, you didn't really have any other choices, but at this stage of the game, the Druid's trying to grind you out. The Druid has all of the cards, and you have none of the cards. So you're kind of forced into a position that you have to...
Oh, he accidentally played Savage Roar instead of Shade of Nexaramus there. He just the card must have moved in his hand when he was reaching down for it, like playing quickly. That's let's see if that ends up costing him, because that's a pretty costly just misclick. Not an actual mistake, just maybe played a little too quickly and grabbed the wrong card there.
And we see trading with the Alexstrasza instead of trading with the Despite Harrison Jones to play around the Big Game Hunter top deck eventuality, because he knows his opponent has a Big Game Hunter. He just hasn't found it yet.
Yeah, he found a clear here, but unless he hero powers, does hero power get him out of lethal range from Deathspite and Barongeddon? But
1 life.
Yeah, it's gonna be at 1, but
oh man,
he's gonna need a lot of help.
Yeah, and all he's got left to deal with is the Barongeddon, and then he's actually stabilized against the Control Warrior playing the value game.
He's got 7 cards left. Presume one of them is a Big Game Hunter.
Yeah, he needs that Big Game Hunter. You can't win the value game against Control Warrior without eventually finding your Big Game Hunter.
All right, well, he drew a Wrath. Wrath actually clears this, because he can Wrath cycle for 1. Or 3, however he wants to do it, and use Savage Roar to trade in, and then he's not dead anymore. But it depends on how he wants to allocate this Wrath.
The Grom is coming soon is the scary part. That's the final the final challenge is the Grom.
All right, he's gonna go ahead and develop his board with Lotheb and Shade. The Shade that he tried to play a couple turns ago. So he's trying to make it to where he can start trying to set up for lethal here the next couple turns. And Shield Maiden picked up.
Yeah, that's gonna put him way outside of range of lethal range. They're just gonna clean up the Lotheb and then start threatening lethal with their Shield Maiden. Forces FPV to hero power.
Yeah, I mean, there's the big game hunter, just a little bit late. Late to the party, buddy.
Yeah, the only target left now is Grom, and you
You're
don't
probably
really want to be doing
it.
it. Yeah.
I mean, you could Ancient of Lore yourself back up to 10 and hero power, but I mean, he's only got 5 cards left in his deck. Does he really need to draw?
Yeah, he's gonna take the heal route instead. Yeah. Well, he knows the Shield Maiden's gonna be hitting him in the face again, so he kind of has to heal.
There's a bash picked up as well.
That's face damage.
Yeah, I mean,
or you can use it to execute.
Yeah, I was joking about this card the other day. You know, it seems okay, but you get some weird lethals out of this card with like Gromish, Bash, and you know, Baron Geddon and Bash. You can have a lot more reach than they think you do with like a weapon out of the Control Warrior deck.
So now, in the position of email support, he's got to be thinking about how he can take his opponent to fatigue. Because at this point, each player has single-digit cards left. FPV has 5 cards left. Email support rocking 7 cards. You got to think about how's the rest of the game going to play out? How do my remaining 10 cards or whatever line up against my opponent's remaining 10 cards? And how do I stay 1 card ahead at the end of the game so that I have a minion left to play?
First, you have just armor up and attack for 5 here. Yeah, he's just going to hold on to his stuff. And he's probably just trying to figure out exactly what, you know, FPV has left in his deck. And as we see, he has an Innervate left, which is a dead card here now.
Yeah, so the Innervate's not going to be very good. He's valuing the Shield Maiden as a 1-for-1 trade with the Ancient Allure instead of bashing the Ancient Allure and then executing it and using 2 cards to deal with the Ancient Allure. This way he's only using 1 card to deal with it by simply ignoring it. Because FPV is kind of forced to make the trade. Yeah,
I kind of like that because, I mean, you know what kind of threats are left at FPV's deck, and you can answer them with Brawl, Execute, and Bash what's left over. Plus, you have the 5/5. And if he wants to, you know, run the Shade in to keep a 5/5, then you're completely okay with that. And then, you know, takes a bunch of damage somehow. Like, I don't know if you can ever even make that play.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before Grom's drawn.
Yeah.
So, Grom's going to be another 4 damage with this Bash. Possibly more. Oh, the Cruel Taskmaster is going to be 12 damage. So as soon as Grom's drawn, the game is over.
Yep.
Unless a taunt can come up, and then you have execute the answer to the taunt. So I like the play of holding back your resources and being patient with it.
This is 20. This is 21, 22 with Innervate right now.
22 with Innervate.
So we're a little short. Just a little short here. So again, this is just a waiting game. There's 6 cards left in Email Support's deck. He's just waiting to draw to Grom at any point in time. It is lethal. Is there any point in time that you actually unveiled the Shade? You have to know there's an execute waiting. You haven't seen all of them yet.
I think it's not too bad to unveil the Shade, play Big Game Hunter, just be super aggressive with it. Like, you have to force your opponent to react to you so that you can then get your second Ancient of War and get it stabilized.
That's true. I kind of like Big Game Hunter this turn.
Yeah, I mean, you know Grom's coming. You gotta do something before Grom hits you in the face and kills you. You know there's 1 Cruel Taskmaster left, and you know there's Grom left.
So there's a Sludge Belcher too. Wow.
Sludge Belcher's a huge draw here.
Yeah, this cuts a lot of outs away from FPV here.
It's still going to come down to who has a card left on the table at the end of the game. Wild Growth is not what you want to see here. He's going to be forced to use it. That's going to make him even closer to fatigue. At this point, he may fatigue before he can cut through the armor.
Yeah. Emperor Thorson's going to discount some cards that don't even really need to be discounted, but it is a 5/5. You know, there is a body attached to this card, so
it's looking pretty grim for FPV here. He's got 1 card remaining in his deck. I don't see how he can actually grind out the Control Warrior here.
Typical Control Warrior game, just actually stop all of the threats in your deck and put me in a position where I can't die.
Yeah. There's so much health on the Control Warrior. Justicar has been huge this match.
Yeah, that card
he plays around the Cruel Taskmaster there by hitting it so they can't trade up with the Emperor more efficiently, I guess.
Yeah. And the second Sludge Belcher drawn here, by the way.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I don't know if you know this, but Slimes win brawls very often. Oh, it doesn't come true this time, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see Email Support just kind of put the nail in the coffin here.
Execute goes down.
Does he have second Ancient War left?
Another Shade.
Oh, so there's only one Ancient War in the list.
He's actually going to die to fatigue before his Shade can get big enough to pair with Force of Nature and Savage War and get through enough of email support's life total.
Yeah, there is no chance there that he was able to.
Yeah. Great played game by email support there. Wow, you know, there was a great draw on the Druid side by FPV there. He had a ton of resources. I mean, he almost was overdrawing that game.
Yeah.
We're talking about that's the way you just outgrind Warrior, and then he just couldn't do it. Warrior outgrinded him.
The big thing in that match was, I think it was played fine from both sides. I think both players played great. They had hands and they tried to take the direction that was best with their hands. But for the Druid there, he just never found Big Game Hunter. Just never was able to find it. And he really needed Big Game Hunter at some point in that game to just really finish it out. And when that first 8-8 came down and he didn't have the Big Game Hunter for it, if he has the Big Game Hunter there, when the Warriors got 3 cards left, then he doesn't have to give up his whole board to deal with the 8-8. And he can just continue playing all of his threats out of his hand and then really take the game from there.
Yeah,
so not having the Big Game Hunter there cost him.
Yeah, just one big tempo swing is what he needed. Middle turns, but all right, and we get to see FPV is going to bring Hunter back out. Email support, we're going to see his Warlock for the first time. It looks like it's going to be a Demon Lock deck. I saw a little Mal'Ganis in there somewhere.
Yeah, definitely Demon Handlock.
For Thorson in this deck too. Do you think there's a chance we're going to see the Demon Burn deck? Demon Lock?
No.
I guess.
No, it's definitely just standard Demon Handlock. Yeah,
right, I'm just hoping for cool, awesome, fun decks.
Email support has been playing all standard decks. He's got a very standard lineup. He's been playing them very well though, so he's definitely very experienced in standard meta decks.
Yeah, he is a legend player. Both these players are FPV, almost a top 100 legend player, just a few spots away from being in the top 100. Both these guys put in their time every month on the ladder. You know, these guys are some ladder warrior heroes. You know, they put in the hundreds of games a month they need to put themselves in situations like this. Nice to see them get a chance to, you know, win a big tournament.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Going from ladder, going to on stream, and a chance to win some money. We see the Coin Watcher play come out. He knows he's going up against a super aggressive Hunter deck. He might be trying to just get that Sun Fury down early to contest the board, or hoping the top deck Owl.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You know, he saw how aggressive this deck could be. He saw Arcane Golems. You know, he saw Slave Zuka, so he knows that his life total's in serious jeopardy on all turns. Getting through a 4 or 5 Taunter this early in the game could cost the Hunter a lot of resources, but we see he's got an Iron Beak Owl. But then it allows the Ancient Watcher to start attacking. So it's I always find that such a weird thing between these two decks. Like whenever someone taunts up an Ancient Watcher, you're like, oh, I can silence it and get him. And they're like, but wait, he gets a 4/5.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, one of the best ways to slow down Hunter is this sort of play. And this really determines the play style of the Handlock from the get-go. Sometimes you see the Handlock player just tapping and playing like normal. And sometimes you see them going with this style and just trying to play off the top of their deck. Both styles have like ups and downsides. And with this style of Handlock, you're kind of a little bit reliant off the top of your deck for getting the cards you need. Whereas in the other style, you have higher chances of getting the cards you need, but the cards you need are a lot more specific. You need that board clear turn 4. Otherwise, there's too much pressure to just play a Twilight Drake or just play a Mountain Giant. And you generally need the Taunters in time.
If you're FPV, what would you have done this turn? Do you like this line?
I don't like using a kill command early against Handlock. I may have just like ignored the Watcher. No AoEs can come down this turn, so maybe just like Unleash and pass, or just Hero Power pass. Because the Watcher's not too pressing of a concern, but I can see the like justification for getting the trap up, starting to push damage. He was probably hoping to draw that Snake Trap there. Yeah,
trying to draw out Snake Trap's fine, but I mean, how bad is a 4-mana Sunfury Protector if this game goes a little bit of distance, you know? And
the 4-mana Sunfury Protector is great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be fine for him as the game goes on. He's going to be able to re-taunt up again from that card.
Yeah, the Arcane Golem comes out really early and he misses the Hero Power playing it, so he really just wants the tempo of it on the board.
Yeah, plus going from 4 to 5 against Demon Lock, you know, he can't play a Mountain Giant right now, so he's going to have a lot of 4-drops that he can play. If he plays a 5-drop, he plays just Anti-Killbot, and I guess you're just okay with that. You know, you're not, like, really punishing yourself too much in getting him the extra mana this turn, so...
Yeah, good read from FPV. He's going to be able to connect twice with an Arcane Golem. Not something you see every day from that card.
Yeah. I had a match the other day where I saw a Huffer do 16.
Holy smokes.
I think it was ECOP. ECOP got in like 16 damage. I knew he got at least 12, but it might have been 16 with a Huffer. And I was like, this card is not fair if it gets to attack more than once. Same thing. I mean, Arcane Golem, like the same kind of thing.
It's got Iron Beak Owl to take care of this Twilight Drake, and the 1/1 still alive from the Unleash the Hound's able to trade in.
Yeah, you know,
squeezing the hero power for more damage.
He knows there's a 4-mana Sun for your Protector in Email Support's hand, and you know, an Owl would be good at taking away that taunt, but how much time does Email Support have to do that?
And we see Molten Giant come down for 4 with the Dark Bomb to finally take care of that Arcane Golem.
That Arcane Golem did its job.
Yeah, definitely did more than enough work here. Now, as FPV here, is it the time to play High Main turn 6? Or is Shredder Hero Power better?
Yeah, I mean, it slows you way down in the amount of damage that you've been doing per turn. And you've already seen, you know, you just saw a Molten Giant come down, so, you know, the chance of him having a second one are pretty low. But it's so hard to pass up on a High Main. It's just so much guaranteed damage to play. I mean, I'd have to sit there for a while trying to figure out exactly what's right that turn. I mean, he does have a lot of, you know, burst from his hand. He has a kill command and a quick shot, and he can hero power next turn. So, I mean, that's a full 10 from his hand, so he only needs to get in 2.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So that's why I was kind of thinking, like, if you just get the 2 in that turn with the Hero Power Shredder, and if the Owl sticks around, even if they taunt, you have lethal over the top.
Plus, you could get a beast out of your Shredder. I mean, there's a small chance at that, too.
For sure. But the High Main does come down, and that's going to force the heal bot, I guess, because he has no way to deal with it. No Owl from the handlock, and no Shadow Flame or Hellfire. So that gets to connect for 6. Holy smokes. So we got 16 damage from FPV's hand at the moment?
He is at 16 burst. He can get him down to 4. Still have a High Main in play.
That's crazy.
Even have a Leper Gnome as well. So if, like, you know, a Sweeper comes out, then it's going to lead up with the Leper Gnome to get in an extra 2. So it'd be like 5 from Hellfire.
I like this play. It's just Shredder in the middle. Leper Gnome Hero Power. Develop all your minions and use all your burn spells next turn.
Yeah, just keep good Shredder placement for sure. Always want it. It's something I hear y'all harp on a lot within the house about Shredder placement.
Well, we gotta see the taunted up Void Color, which could bring out Mal'Ganis as a saving grace. But is he dead to just over the top damage? Looks like he is. Because we have Kill Command for 5, Hero Power for 2, and then Quick Shot for 3, and then Leper Gnome for 2 more, making 12.
Yep.
And that's it. Mal'Ganis doesn't have time to shine. As long as he doesn't accidentally kill the Void Caller, FPV is going to take this match.
And it looks like he spotted it. We're going to go... these spells are pointed where they're supposed to be pointed. There is full-on smarking going on this turn.
Full-on smarking. Wow. That was actually fairly close there. Like, if FPV was short one of those burn cards, like he didn't have the quick shot or didn't have the kill command, then I could easily see Email Support crawling his way back into this game with that Mal'Ganis coming out and things like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, he has expended so many resources taking care of the board already. You know, he already used an Owl and stuff. He might not have had a way to even deal with the Mal'Ganis. It might have stayed in play for more than he had some taunters up and ready to go.
Yeah. Email Support, he started out in a really good spot that game, and then like turn 6 came around, and the Hunter dropped High Main, and he just didn't have an answer for it. And that was really what decided the whole match.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much burst damage at the end there. I like the way he played the game. You know, there's turns where he could have used his burn spells to get him down to like 2 or 4 and have maybe his hero power finish him off. But, you know, he stayed patient, kept playing a few more minions, and then, you know, got to be able to burst the damage out of it. And he didn't get really aggressive with his kill command early. He could have kill commanded really early and run a 2/2 into an Ancient Watcher. But I feel that in that matchup, you could almost never kill command a minion. Like, it makes it so hard for you to win once you do.
Yeah, exactly. You just really need that burst. So now it's going to be FPV's Druid versus Email Support's Demon Handlock again. And the Druid this time has the Wild Growth, and he has the Esprint. He's maybe thinking about mulliganing away the Esprint.
Yeah, confirmed good Druid player. He's got a Wild Growth in his opening hand, so obviously he's a great Druid player. As that's how the meme goes, right?
He mulligans away the Esprint. I kind of like that because it's not very good in this matchup, and they oftentimes have the Dark Bomb just to deal with it efficiently.
Yeah, now he picks up 2 Wild Growths here as well.
Yeah, so you can go coin Wild Growth into Wild Growth.
Into Druid, yeah.
Druid into Druid.
He's got a lot of bears. Oh my.
Yeah. And from the email support side, no 4-drops as of yet. He's got a few turns to try and pick one up. He's just going to be hero power and trying to look for any of the 4-drops. Either the oh, there we go. Yeah, it's very common that the handlock's able to get the 4-drop by the time they need it, since they run 6 of them and they're able to hero power twice.
I mean, I feel like turn 4 is the most important turn for them too. If they like don't play some like overpowered minion on turn 4, that you're just so like more favored to win the game.
Oh yeah, they just spent the first 2 turns doing nothing. So
yeah,
they need to do something turn 4. And,
I mean, it is a dream though to think that they're gonna miss something on turn 4. It almost just never happens.
Yeah, really. When it does happen though, you usually win.
Yeah, and let's see if you can finally draw a big game hunter on time here.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it. His big game hunters have been hiding from him all series.
What do you like this turn? Do you like just pilot a shredder and hero power? Just get a sticky minion in play, start pushing for some damage.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, Druid of the Claw is really flexible. You can kind of use it in conjunction with Savage Roar late in the game as kind of like a mini combo.
You have Loatheb next turn into your mini combo of Druid of the Claw, Savage Roar. If things stick around, they could possibly be setting up lethal.
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the fact that Druid of the Claw is like a pretty flexible card in these matchups. The fact that early you can make it a 4/6 to where it doesn't die to like removal spells. Like they can't Dark Bomb plus Mortal Coil it if you just get in 4. And later in the game, as I said, you can use it as like just a lot of reach out of it as well. Really aggressive
there a little bit
from email support. Yeah, I like that.
Well, he's got to protect the giant.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
that punishes FPV's play of doing the shredder over the Druid of the Claw, because now he can't kill the giant without using the swipe, and he doesn't really want to be doing that.
Yeah, I like that play a lot. And then if he wants to use the swipe to take care of this turn, it's not really doing much else.
So FPV kind of a little greedy there, trying to set up the shredder to possibly be able to trade into the giant, so a 2-drop remains instead of the Druid of the Claw being forced to do it, and gets punished by the Owl Dark Bomb. What are the chances, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna tap and then play the Mountain Giant, get another card deeper in his deck. He's got to find more Taunters. He's only got 1 Sun Fury Protector, and 1 Taunter usually isn't enough against Druid. You usually want 2.
Man, we keep seeing these cards show up just like 1 turn too late. That Shade would have been amazing last turn.
That's not too bad this turn with the Loatheb.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but I mean, if he gets to go like swipe into Shade last turn, it's actually like a really good.
Oh yeah, that would have been a sick last turn. So things just not lining up for him, but he's just going to try and make the best of it here. It's still a favored matchup for him, so he's not in that bad of a spot. But double Mountain Giant with no big game hunter to deal with either one is just brutal.
Yeah, and he does still have Druid of the Claw Savage Roar with a Keeper, so he does still have some fight left in him. He does still have some ways to get through stuff, because you got to believe emo support's going to start taunting up here as soon as possible.
Yeah. Definitely got to be afraid, especially this turn. The Shade sets up combo lethal, which may... Yeah, it's going to prevent him from playing Dr. Boom here. He's going to be using his first taunter here. And it goes down on a weakened giant already. So that's what I was kind of saying about the first taunter. The first taunter usually doesn't land on too great of taunts. And then the second taunter is usually what really seals Druid out. Because both of these taunts are going to be dealt with immediately by just Keeper the Grove and the Shade.
What does FPV have to do here? I mean, you got to believe he's probably trading off here for the giant.
Yeah, he's just trading the board. So currently, no combo still though. But if he does have combo, pretty close to lethal.
Rax is picked up from emo support here, yeah. Yeah, it would be 18, yeah.
He's got no way to play around combo this turn, because if he uses Hellfire to clear, he can use Dark Bomb to clear actually. So he can still play around combo, but if he uses Dark Bomb to clear, he doesn't develop Dr. Boom. Is it worth it at that point? You've seen your opponent holding the Druid of the Claw and the Savage Roar, I guess. You don't know what they are, of course. You've seen him holding those 2 cards, though.
You've seen him holding 2 cards almost the entire game. Now, we saw in this situation earlier, one of the players just put the Dr. Boom into play. So, like,
yeah.
Damn it, I think you have to. If you don't.
Yeah, if he doesn't do it and his opponent doesn't have combo, then he's dead. Oh. Well, I guess he's fully committed that FPV has the combo by FPV. Just holding on to that Druid of the Claw and that Savage Roar all game, kind of bluffing that combo.
Yeah, this is something I've talked about a lot when you're playing against Druid. The threat of combo is like almost as good as combo half the time. You know, it's not as good when it just kills you, obviously. But the fact that he makes plays like this because of the fact that there are cards in his hand that he hasn't played the whole game. You're just worried about immediately dying from 17. It makes you have to play weird, and it's like so much value in your deck. Just the fact that it's there for them to think about and have to play weirdly against.
Yeah. FPV still holding on to that Druid of the Claw Savage Roar. They worked well together for the burst damage, and also he knows his opponent thinks it's combo now based on how weak his opponent's last turn was.
Yeah, he's saying well played.
Well played. Oh man.
Yeah,
he doesn't even have it.
Yeah, he thinks he's dead, but now if he survives to this turn, the email support. What does email support got? Like if he survives to this turn, he has another Molten Giant. If he draws, you know, if he draws a Taunt Giver, I mean, it's just over, right?
Yeah, Taunt Giver or a heal is gonna end it.
All right, so if he combos right now, and I mean the Druid of the Claw Savage Roar combo, it's 10, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hero power. So it puts him to 2. And then he would just have like Jiraxis behind this.
But yeah, he does 4 damage with the Druid of the Claw, 4 damage with the Savage Roar, and then 1 damage with the hero power, and then Jiraxis comes into play, and that's a nightmare.
Druid players just keep drawing Innervate when they have 10 mana and like no cards in their hands.
Oh, that's the worst feeling. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, they're in your deck to give you these amazing starts, but for you to have that ability to like have those great starts, you're gonna have these games where you raw them this late. And they just don't do anything.
Where shall I start?
Let's see if he uses the Roar here. If he uses the Roar here, then there's no way he can finish this game out.
Yeah, I like him holding on to it.
Healbot or Jiraxis both said